when we say British dialects, there's a lot of stuff, kind of like the American way of speaking of New Yorkers, Mississippi, and blah, 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 blah. When people say British dialect, I think they generally mean one of two things. They mean really posh, or they mean Cockney. Really posh being, we are talking right now. I do sound rather posh, don't I? I sound like I've got a stick up my bottom. So they think about that, which is sort of like Queen. The Queen's speech is even more whatever, but it's kind of like that, posh. Or they think Cockney. You're right, bruv. You're right, bruv. You're right. So that's what they usually think of, right? Either Cockney or posh. But today I think we're going to focus on what I call London multicultural English. It's just kind of the British version of standard British speech. It's the kind of speech that you hear generally in England from people who just have embraced their regionalities. So for instance, an acting student in England who is from the middle of England where it sounds very like Liverpool will probably be taught to just speak generic British stage the same way that if you were an American actor and let's say you had a really hardcore Mississippi accent, you would probably at some point want to like even out your Mississippi accent because you just want to be like sound as general American. So there's American standard speech, which is just a way of speaking where no one can tell you to speak, right? And the London multicultural English is just to me the most general English way of speaking. And the reason I want to focus on this today is because I think that that's the one that's, number one, the most marketable. It's a good neutral base, and then from there you can kind of, go into your specialty things and such. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Am I going too fast?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you give us an example of the cadence differences where you were saying that even if we speak in the English accent with an American cadence, it will still sound American?
Sure. We might actually, we're going to probably talk about some things later on, but let me give you one. Okay. Let me come here, sir. Can you just read this part of my notes? Just read this bullet, okay? And if you can, stand here and speak it loudly. Just don't worry about, I just want you to sound like Harvey, okay? And say that part.
Sometimes it helps to
Speak loudly. Speak loudly.
sometimes it helps to just speak it in the dialogue for a whole day if you have an audition coming up. Just to get rooted.
Did everybody hear that? You want to say it one more time? Can you say it one more time, Jordan? Loudly.
Sometimes it helps to just speak in the dialogue for a whole day if you have an audition. Just to get it rooted in the body.
Okay. Now just end a dialect. Just end a dialect, okay. Everybody listen?
Sometimes it helps to just speak in the dialect.
Okay. Can you hum that part? Say, kind of do a Dumpty Dumpty Dum. Say it in like a singing way without the words.
Say it with your mouth open.
Like sing song.
Yeah. Actually just go, yeah.
Say it.
How I would be saying it?
Yeah, yeah. Louder. That's cool. It's good. That's good. Thank you. Okay. So you can sit down. All right. Now, the way I would say it is, sometimes it helps to just speak in the dialect for a whole day. Sometimes it helps to just speak in the dialect for a whole day. And I think he said,
Sometimes it helps to speak in the dialect.
sometimes, he said sometimes, sometimes it helps to just speak in the dialect for a whole day. Let me give you a simple one, actually, that's kind of difficult. Actually, here's one. Moses supposes his toes are roses. What is that one? Say it in American.
Moses supposes his toes are roses.
Moses supposes his toes are roses. Moses supposes his toes are roses. I'm going to say it normally.
Moses supposes his toes are roses.
this is exactly why I want to use this class, because you'll start hearing it when you start listening to the samples I have of actual conversations. You'll start hearing the difference. It's something that I cannot teach you, but if you think about it in terms of, I can teach you to start feeling the instinct in your body. Can you kind of instinctively feel the rhythmic differences, even if you can't differentiate what they are? Yes. And that's all I want you to do, is just to be able to hear that, that sounds different. That's all you need at this point. I'm gonna show you some examples. We're gonna go on break. Actually, how are we for time? When is our break? 3:15, right?
Yeah, 3:15. So yeah, you got about another 20 minutes.
Let me think of an easy cadence difference before we move on to some of our exercises. Yes, here's a good one. Sir, you who was asked to do a Latino accent.
I had to watch YouTube more than
I bet you did. Okay, so I need you to read this from sheets to end to end, right? Okay, do you need your glasses? Say it loud and just say it in your normal voice. Okay, everybody listen.
She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
Say it again, please.
She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
Now just say the first part to him.
She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him.
Stop. She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him. I mean,
So is it
well, I
more
mean,
so
this is just an example. I'm actually exaggerating a little bit, and this is kind of a posh thing to say, because that's what I was going to say in Cockney, right? She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him. She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him. She stood on the balcony, the cadence is still the same, right? Even though I sound different. Okay. Now go to read the rest of it.
Hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
Okay. Say the whole thing now.
She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in. She stood on the balcony, inexplicably mimicking him, hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in. It's so many things. It's everything I said in the beginning. It's sounds, it's the vowels, it's the consonants, but it's also, there's a lyrical cadence difference in the way.
They break it different parts of the sentence.
Yes, they don't focus. I think they don't focus on the same places that Americans do, and I think generally the inflection is downward.
Right.
Whereas, like in America, like you kind of talk like this, and everything goes up, that sort of thing. In England, it's often the other way around. We talk down. We often swallow our words. We end like this. It's downward inflection. And it's when you understand the culture, it's also part of just minimizing yourself, like not standing out.
Right.
America is very like, and England's very like, So if you think about it as a downward inflection thing, they're kind of driving down to the end of it. But it is, again, it's a cadence and rhythm thing that, almost like a radio frequency, you have to tune your ear to it, and usually it helps to just listen to stuff on the radio, or go to the country which you go if it's expensive, or just listen to British ways of speaking, but it will start to come inside of you, along with all the other things like sounds and stuff. So now what we're going to do, actually, read what I just said. What we're going to do, actually. See? Right. How do you say what I just said in American?
Actually.
Right. Yeah, okay, right. So sometimes it's even a placement. Because sometimes it can be harder to do a British dialect in stuff that's written in an American way, because sometimes there's things that British people just don't write. Like there's some things we just don't write. They say actually a lot. Actually, the bus is rather late. Not actually, the bus is rather late. So there's a it's such a, Anyway, we're gonna watch, So, see, right? right? So now we're going to watch some things. So now we're going to watch some things.
Thank you, Bob.
We're gonna start with. We have 15 minutes to delve into our things. I have 4 samples of some things on my laptop that we're going to show you, and then we'll take a break. Anybody have any questions at this point? That was a good question, and it's not an easy thing to learn. An hour and a half is not going to teach you, but it's going to start breaking down the preconceptions you have about, oh, it's just when you this. It's not just that. It's going to start getting you used to hearing rhythmic differences, cadence, emphasis, as well as sounds, which is vowels and consonants. Let me give you a picture. What's the day? Monday, something, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Tuesday. Well, they say Tuesday.
Exactly. Tuesday, right?
Yeah, the hard.
Right. So A, say something with a bake a cake. Someone say that.
Bake a cake.
Right. Bake a cake. A. And Americans say, but this is your mouths, right? I'm going to bake a cake. There's no laziness in my mouth. My mouth is like doing major push-ups right now, right? It's not like, it's just muscle. I'm going to bake a cake. Not, I'm gonna bake a cake. We're gonna bake a cake. No, it's not that. So that's vowels. That's A, E, E. Live in sin. Live in sin. Live in sin. Live in sin. Right. That's A, E. Oh, we didn't say E. Just someone say something with E. Leaves. Green. Green leaves. Say green leaves. Again? Green leaves. Right. Green leaves. Green leaves. You see that? Right? That's A-E-I. We've said I like, we've said live in sin. I-O. We've said Moses supposes. You. This is good. Don't laugh, but can you tune that radio in? Can you tune that radio? Okay, I can't. Can you tune that radio? Tune. In America, they call it a liquid U. In England, it's just a U, right? Jaguar.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Jaguar.
Right. Jaguar. Exactly. But when I say sounds, I mean those A-E-I-O-U. That's your giveaway. And consonants. Say the person who picks up the phone is a telephone representative. That's what I'm saying. Representative. Okay, say that word. That's what I want.
Representative.
Say that word again. I say representative. I say it like that when my teacher tells me it's representative. But that's how in my head it's representative. Those are consonants.
Yeah.
May I speak to a customer? Representative.
You'll call you
Right. So we're not here to speak this way in America. We're here to speak this way for British roles, right? Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. That's so T's and S's. Who? You say peppers?
He said okay.
Okay. Let's do a Moses supposes. I think S's are pretty simple. Possess. What's another one? What's an S? What? Small. So that's going to be into A's. Small. Anyway, severe. Success. Okay, say that again.
Success.
Success. Again, it's just the crispness. Say crisp.
Crisp.
You're getting better. See, you're already doing it differently, like crisp. Crisp. Do you have a lisp? Yeah. Crisp lisps. Crispy lisps. Yes. Exactly. So when I say sounds, basically, when we're listening to this, you'll hear all of this, right? But sounds is vowels, consonants, rhythm and cadence is the way the thing makes you move, the emphasis on words, the structure of the words, all of those things. You'll be more in tune to that as you listen.
This is why everybody think Americans are dumb.
Yeah.
No,
We just so lazy, like.
yes,
Even the way we talk.
So, I'm just curious,
yes.
like how we're
I'm just curious.
right, so how we're
I'm not correcting you, but I want you to start hearing the differences, right? So that when you start getting really good at this, it'll be going on in your head. As people are talking, you'll be like translating the British, and that's the fun part. That's when you know it's really, yes, sorry.
So like how we're learning the British dialect,
Mhm.
I find it fascinating, like two actors that come to my mind who are doing pretty well in American film, like Idris Elba is one, and the cat who played Franklin from,
Oh,
She would tell you
Franklin from, what is that, you know the movie?
Soul, not soul.
Was he was in 12 Years a Slave?
No,
Well, no, I know.
Chiwetel
Yeah,
Ejiofor.
he's dope too. But no, my question basically was, is it essential that how we're learning it? I feel like in England, I feel like that's like they just train to learn the English dialect because they can turn it off so well. And they portray these roles like I didn't know Shirley Bell was great. I didn't know Idris Elba was. He's from Baltimore. Really, until I seen him in like I teach it. I'm like, but I was watching him for like 5 years on film, and he just turned it off so well.
So is your question that
Over there in that country, do they adapt the English dialect? How we're learning the American dialect? Is that essential for them to learn?
what I'm hearing you ask, I think the answer is yes. It's as marketable a skill to be able to do
Right.
the main Western power entertainment dialects, America and England. Yes.
It gives you range.
It gives you range,
Yeah.
especially if you're a person of color. It gives you range because guess what? They're black people in England.
I didn't know it was like
They are black people in England. So yeah, so yes, in England, American dialects. In fact, on the actor websites, a lot of them will have to market themselves. They'll say what dialects they can do, and then they'll have samples where you can click and hear them doing their American versions. So I think it really benefits Americans to do the same thing, and I think a lot of people do. But yes, it makes you marketable on both ends. And then obviously the more it benefits you also to know how to do West African, South African, anything that you can be cast in, it benefits you to know. It benefits me to know how to speak in various American dialects. I can do great August Wilson type. Shush. But yes, they learn just like we learn. Yes. Great question. Okay.
I have a question. What do you think some of the best ways to learn dialects are if you don't have a class that you can go to, or
Okay.
what's the best way to finish?
We were going to do that at the end of the class, but I can just
Oh, okay.
I don't want to tell them now because then everybody's gonna be trying to cut up on their.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't know if you spoiled
Well,
it.
no. Coming soon.
I know. Going back to my
But yeah, to me actually, my least favorite way to learn anything is through taking classes. That's my least favorite way to learn anything, including dialects. I've never taken a dialect class. My ear works really well. All it takes is just going to the country and feel it like your rhythm, like see what your body wants to do as you listen to it, tap it out, what I was doing before, like Moses, suppose, all of that stuff. I think that's the best way. Just inundate yourself in that. Dialect classes, I think, start making it really technical, then you end up in your head and you're thinking, oh, and then, you just don't. I think it's great to sharpen up things, but I would say classes are lasting. But that's just me, somebody's perspective.
This is a nice plug for this kid. I'm messing with you. Right.
Well, I think Actors Academy is different.
It's coming back on.
Actors Academy is different because we're not. You haven't heard me say one thing about diphthong and Linklater, and have you heard me say anything like that?
I'm sorry, what is that?
Exactly. What is
Sounds
diphthong?
kind of interesting.
Anybody who's had vocal training, voice training, yeah, it's terminology and it's words that people who teach speech will say, but this class is good because it strips you of all the lingo and it gets you down to basics. Right, okay. Just like people who can dance, but they're movers, but they can't go to a dance call and be like, step 2, 3, turn, block. Like, what the hell does that mean? But if you just kind of do it a couple of times and then you repeat it, you can do it, right? Yes, okay. So now we have 10 minutes before we take our break, so let's just address one. We'll start with one thing. Hopefully my internet works.
Yeah, we'll be taking a break in a couple minutes, get some snacks, use the bathroom, then come back at 5 after that. I find this stuff that I don't take into consideration. Like when I do take it into consideration sometimes, but taking a class on it makes you think about it a little bit more. It makes you actually dive into your character, I feel like, a little bit more because you have an idea of where you should go with it. You know what I mean? Instead of just thinking like, oh, I don't have no idea, I'm gonna just go with it this way. She's giving us some sort of, direction with it. So
You did pretty good at Africa.
man, what? I was listening to African radio, South African radio for a month.
You were very natural with it, though.
Oh, yeah.
People thought you were really from.
Yeah, they did. That's what's up, man. I had to help them with some awesome directors and cast
I told
mates.
her, hey, come here today. She's like, oh, Africa? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Okay. So now when I catch myself doing stuff, usually when I catch myself, I'm like, oh shit, little. But now when I catch myself, I'll try to catch myself and show you so you can start hearing the difference. When I said okay, did you think that sounds weird or did it sound normal to you? Sounds different.
Yeah.
Right. Good. So your ears are starting to work. I hope you're gonna be able to hear. Ooh, as you listen to this, I want you, if you have writing stuff, or if you have great memories you can remember, but if you have writing stuff, I want you just to listen and write down anything that strikes you in what you're hearing. Anything at all. If there's a word that's said a weird way that you find interesting, if there's a sentence that you think, oh, they said that differently than I would say, if it sounds like nasally or whatever it is, whatever observation you have, write it down. If you can, also write down, if you can pick up one phrase or sentence, write it down. If you can remember it as we go along. All right.
And there is paper and pens in every folder that you guys have for this, and there's also a script in there that we'll be going into as well.
Sometimes I find that I listen better when my eyes closed. So if you want to try that.
Bickering about Brexit for the last couple of years. Well, here's the thing. They've only actually been trying to figure out how they want to leave the EU. They haven't even got onto the next bit, which is deciding what we'll do after we leave. And obviously MPs are completely split about that too. So what do they want? Many hope to copy agreements the EU already has with other countries, and there's a lot of them. Some talk about the Norway model, or even something called Norway Plus. And then there's the Switzerland model, or deals struck with Canada or Singapore. And yes, there's even a Canada Plus. But wait a minute, what do all these different deals actually mean? And could Parliament even agree on backing any of them? Let's start with the Norway model. Now, Norway isn't a member of the EU, but it is part of what's known as the European Free Trade Association, or EFTA. Now, that's basically a small deal between Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland, and they're all countries not part of the EU. But 3 of them, so not Switzerland, also have a separate deal that gives them access to the EU single market. And that deal is called the European Economic Area Agreement, or EEA. And what does that actually mean? It makes Norway a member of the EU single market and part of the free movement of goods, capital, services, and labour. That's a big deal. It's good for trade, but it also means Norway has no control over immigration from other European countries. A huge issue in the 2016 referendum.
The case of Norway neatly demonstrates the dilemma for leave. The price of access to the single market is freedom of movement.
So far, it seems like there isn't much difference between Norway and other EU countries. But crucially, Norway is not part.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you guys some time to write some things down. Huh? Anything, whatever, yeah, if whatever struck you as you listen to it. Not yet, we will. But right now, I just want you to make note. Are you making note? Okay, cool. And it's important that you do because we're going to come back to this. We're going to listen to one more sample, then we're going to take a break and then listen to 2 more samples. So there's going to be one more sample. Very good. What did I say? What did I say? Okay, stop. I want 1, 2, 3, and 4 to repeat what I said. What did I say?
Sample.
Say
Sample.
Right. And I said sample. But somebody said it. I think. Say it again. I think you said it with an American sound, but with the British cadence, and it sounded more British.
Yes.
Than somebody else who said it with the right A, but with the American rhythm. You see what I mean? Like, it is absolutely critical to get the cadence right. Sample, because I could say sample, and I still sound British.